What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. It is time for another episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. I'm your host, TJ Zwarych. Apologies to those live viewers who are trying to join us on Friday. We had a little hiccup. Our wonderful co-host joining us for some of these episodes of Peacemaker, Sean, was unfortunately had to take his dog to the vet, but thankfully they're okay. All is well. It was something that's going to be a quick, easy fix, so all is well there. But it does allow me to be reunited with my co-host and good friend, who I haven't seen in a while, Damon Gray. How you doing, Damon?
Fantastic. I just took a bite of a Pop-Tart, so my mouth is a little full. Good morning, everyone.
Poorly timed, but we're still happy to see you. And I guess the people have been seeing you on the Comic Corner. It's me that they haven't seen in a little while. But happy to be back together with you. And speaking of people we haven't seen in a while, we have the wonderful, beautiful, talented Rachel Tolleson. Welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us.
I'm so happy to be back. I've missed doing this, so I'm very happy you asked.
Very excited to chat about this show with you. Before we do, I want to talk a little bit about what you're watching. I want to know what both of you have been watching. Damon, I know you're working a lot. You probably still aren't watching shit outside of Peacemaker. You can tell me what you're reading. But Rachel, we haven't talked in a while, so I want to know what you're watching. Before we do, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the content we have coming. And make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow the Agents of Fandom on socials, at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. Rachel, I'll throw it to you first. What you watching?
I have recently become incredibly enamored with Hazbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss. So that has been my personality for like the last month or so. So besides, I don't think I really have had anything besides like Peacemaker that I have been really watching. I have a couple irons in the fire for some work stuff that I need to watch. But as far as TV shows, it's kind of just been that recently. It's been a little too busy, a little too crazy to do much else.
I am in the opposite side of things, which I'm very happy about. I've decided to take on a quest. I've been questing the last week and a little bit, because I've realized, as somebody who talks about movies and TV shows all the time, I have way too many movie blind spots. Either like classic all-time films that I have not seen before, or I've seen, but it was either when I was younger, even in my early 20s, just, before my frontal lobe had developed. I want to look at them now with a critical lens. And so I'm trying to watch for the first time or rewatch as many movies that are like considered all-timers as I can. And I've had like a really, really nice 10 days of movies. My last 10 days have been Inglourious Bastards, Fight Club, Boogie Nights, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, Howl's Moving Castle, the Studio Ghibli movie,
Nice.
Godzilla -1, No Country for Old Men, Spirited Away, Interstellar, Good Will Hunting.
Golly.
What a great list of movies.
Been just really going in. I've been trying to watch 1 per weekday, 2 per weekend. That's kind of been like my goal. And so I think my favorite of the group so far is Interstellar. Really, really loved Interstellar. It's nice, like as great as I'm sure that movie would be to see in theaters, and if I can catch another re-release, I will absolutely go. There's something incredible about being able to watch a 3.5-hour movie at home when you can pause, go to the bathroom, get a snack, take a little intermission. And so I gotta say, I do really, really like being able to do that at home. And Interstellar, I think, tops the list for me of the ones I've seen so far. Want to give out a shout out to our friend Brandon Moore. He says, "Hey friends, can't stay, but wanted to show y'all some love. Dropped us a $5 super chat on YouTube. Love y'all. Have a great show. Appreciate you, Brandon. We love you so much, my friend. Thank you so much for popping in and dropping that super chat. Let us know what you've been watching in chat. If you've got some new movies, some new TV shows, some old TV shows, whether it's new, it's old, you're rewatching or watching for the first time, let us know what you've been watching. Damon, how about you? What you've been watching / reading / listening to? Because honestly, get on your box. Talk about these concerts that you've been going to recently. Because I know it's been it's all-consuming for you.
Yeah, my life's been consumed by this long-live the Black Parade tour. Absolutely,
I'm so
consumed
jealous.
by it. I've attended 2 shows. I have 1 more to go. It's been magical. It's been everything I've ever wanted. Seeing My Chem live in a giant stadium, like baseball stadiums and football stadiums. It's crazy. And intermeeting when I'm not attending shows, watching these terrible live streams, just to be like, okay, there's a whole B set. What are they gonna play? Are they gonna play one of my favorites? Am I gonna get really angry? You know. NCR were the original Swifties, kids. Do not forget that. Swifties in the MySpace era. Do not forget. So that's been my life essentially the last month or so, and it's been incredible. 1 more show to go. Toronto, you got a good set list. On the reading wise, you know, a lot of absolute books, a lot of ultimate comics. I did just finish I don't want to say a niche character, but it's a character that we have officially now seen in the DCU, which is Madame Xanadu. She's the first one on the far, far left of the mural. I finished her series from, I think it was like 2011, which is excellent. If you like stories that kind of have to deal with a character, sort of how Eyes Wakanda is, where it's like you have history and then you have fictional history. So it's a character intervening in real world history type of thing. That's what Madame Xanadu is. She's a character that's been around for millennia, like a wood nymph. That's just very, very, very magical. So very cool book. Really enjoyed that. And now I'm digging into some other DC classics like New Frontier. Because the DC compacts, like the $10 compacts, are incredible. For $10, and you get an entire book out of it. They're the size of like a manga. It's great. You can't beat it.
If you want more of Damon's comic book thoughts, you can catch him, AF, and TJ, aka Fat Thor, every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on the Comic Corner here on the Ages of Fandom YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts. Let's start talking some Peacemaker, my friends. I want to know, before we dive into the details, spoiler-free thoughts on Season 2, Episode 1, and where you kind of like, how hot or cold are you on this series as a whole? What did you think of Season 1? Damon, I'll start with you.
Season 1 I enjoyed. It was very much its own thing when it came out. Intentionally so. It was like a follow-up to James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, which like loosely followed the original Suicide Squad that we just kind of don't talk about at this point. So my biggest thing like with the Season 1 was it was just like, yeah, this is like a fun thing to watch. It's DC oriented. I like James Gunn things. And it's very TVMA, the first season was, and Season 2 takes it even further in some regards. So it's just kind of like wild to me that like our first 3 projects in this new DCU is a TVMA animated Creature Commandos, then a very lighthearted PG-13 Superman, and then back to like the highest TVMA you could possibly go with this Season 2. It's solid. I wouldn't say like everything's for me, but I do enjoy it. And it's just kind of like neat seeing this DC universe like very slowly unravel with like name drops and character cameos just very quickly, and seeing how some things connect with each other. Peacemaker is like an interesting character to kind of like base a lot of the DCU around. I feel like he's going to be a pretty center focus. So far so good. I like it.
Rachel, what did you think of Episode 1, and what did you think of Season 1 so far? Where I agree with Damon. Episode 1 seemed to even like level up the TVMA nature of the show even more than the first season.
Yeah, no, and it's when the first season came out, I was like, I'll watch anything that James Gunn does. Like, he's one of my favorites. Everything he touches is magic. And so I was like, I am not a DC person, unfortunately, so I don't know a lot about it. So like, luckily, I'm learning a lot about it, and it's great. Like, it's getting me like more into it, which is the highest of compliments I feel like that you can get as a filmmaker. So, I didn't know anything going into it, and I ended up really liking the first season just because it was so crazy, so out there in such a good way. And so, I was excited for season 2, but sometimes you have to worry about following that up, that kind of vibe and that kind of show with the season 2, because there's a lot to follow up on. There's like a big bright candle to burn to hold to. So I really love the depth, honestly, that the first episode of season 2 is giving us, because it's going a little bit deeper. It's not quite, we're seeing more. It's giving us more stuff. It's expanding. And like Damon said, like, we're getting to see more characters. We're getting to see a fleshed out DCU. So I'm really excited to see like where this season is going to go and who it's going to bring to us.
I've gotten to see the first 5 episodes so far, and I don't think I like it quite as much as season 1, but I don't think the quality is lower by any means. I'm just a very like story-driven person. That's what gets me like bought into most things, and I would say season 2 is a little bit more character-driven than season 1 is, where there's a lot more character exploration than there is in season 1. Season 1 was more, hey, we have a quest, let's get the band together. We're obviously going to introduce you to everybody and you're going to learn about them along the way. But the quest is one of the main characters. And I do love that. Season 2 is more, let's really get into knowing what makes these characters tick. And so I definitely don't think it's a drop in quality at all. But I think like this in terms of personal enjoyment, it's been a little bit lower for me than season 1 so far. But having said that, it's like you said, Rachel, don't think I've seen a James Gunn project that I disliked yet. Like, not everyone has been my favorite. I'm pretty low on Guardians of the Galaxy 2 in terms of MCU movies. I mean, I think that's the only one I'm kind of low on. But even that, I still think it's a good movie. It's a movie I've seen 5 times probably. And so definitely not something I think is bad by any means. But let's start diving into season 2, episode 1 of Peacemaker. And Damon, before we even get into the episode itself, we got to be paying attention, because this recap is not necessarily everything we saw in season 1. James Gunn erases DCEU canon, takes the scene totally right out of there. See you later. I feel like half tempted to, I know it won't be like this, but go back and watch season 1 and see if they just like swapped out the scenes. But we got no more Justice League, no more Aquaman and Flash. We got the Justice Gang as part of as Peacemaker's canon, Damon.
We often joke about when we talk MCU, when we go through like MCU canon stuff, and it's like, and Secret Invasion never happened, and they quite literally did that here, and it's like, and the DCEU never happened. Because they swap out the Justice League for the Justice Gang. We get a very brief shot of Millie Alcock's Supergirl fly in there, which was very exciting for me because I cannot wait for that movie. And a little bit of a back and forth. We get to see more of a snippet of Guy Gardner being a jerk, which is peak Guy Gardner, like perfect Guy Gardner, and just like very small. Like, we wondered how he was going to approach it, and he did it in the recap. I was wondering if it's like, oh, where are we going to say like this was like, if there's going to be a plot point later on, we just address it immediately, which he said he would do. It's like, we address it immediately and we move on. And so it's pretty like easy to accept and digest. A part of me almost like went back to season 1 of the finale and was like, did they change that scene too? Did they go back and just like cut out? They didn't. But like it's fine. The way he did it is fine. It's quite funny just to be like, and everything's the same, but that's different. But everything else is the same. You're like, okay, cool. Now I am curious how, like, if everything is the same and if only is that different, then we do have to go back and be like, okay, the things that in the Suicide Squad Are those characters still the same people? You know, we're like working in that world, right? But those will be questions that will probably be answered at some point. I'm not too worried about it. I'm just along for the ride.
Rachel, what did you think of the Switch? And I also want to know, what did you think of the new intro? Because the intro was like one of the big hooks for people in Peacemaker season 1. We got a song change. We got the dance change. What do you think of the new intro?
I like it. I feel like I mean, obviously the first season intro is supremely iconic. You kind of can't top that. But I am glad that they changed it up and like, you know, gave us the same vibes, but like with a different song, because this is a whole different season. And like you said, they're changing up how this season goes. It's more character driven than story driven. So I was like, it makes sense that they would change it. But I still enjoy it. I still have fun with it. Like I miss the original intro, of course, but I think it's going to be really fun for that. But yeah, and the switch up was hilarious. I was sitting there and I was like, I don't think this is right. I think this is different. It took me a second. I was like, no, this is 100% different. And I love that James Gunn is just like, yeah, we just changed it. Like, we didn't go back and change the first season. It's just this. I respect it. And I'm glad. I'm 100% glad for the switch up, honestly. I was like, thank God, because these characters are a lot more interesting than the Justice League. Sorry to say that, but that's my piece on that.
I didn't quite enjoy the intro, I think, as much as the first one, but I still think it was pretty darn good. You know, it just has a more of a chiller feel than the first one did. Not quite as much of a kick, but I do want to shout out Sean, who couldn't be here today because he loves the Foxy Shazam opener, and he says he saw the band play in front of like 5 people once in 2007. So he was like one of 5 or 6 people watching Foxy Shazam in 2007.
Sean has the wildest, like, oh yeah, I saw like he pulls some names out of a hat, and I'm like, what? He has some wild ones. Next time we have him on here, ask him about it. It's crazy.
I need to know.
And you can also check out Sean's other podcast, MetalcoreNerds, where he does dive into the musical side of his career as well.
He just had Silverstein on.
Yeah. Silverstein, his last guest. Check out
Right.
Check out the MetalcoreNerds podcast. Plug for our guy Sean. If you are a music fan, and this is a perfect show to talk about with music fans, because there's needle drops, there's the epic, there's the intro that is obviously incredible. But before we kind of continue into music stuff, because there's some more funny jokes at a musical band's expense that I want to talk about as well in this episode, because they are absolutely fantastic. But after we get the rewriting of in the recap, after we get the new intro song, we dive straight in, Damon, to the Justice Gang, to Peacemaker wanting to join up to them. We get Sean Gunn's Max Lord. What did you think of? We even got a lesser known DC character briefly teased and introduced and kicked out of there. What did you think of this sequence with Peacemaker trying to join the Justice Gang? 1 from like a comic booky perspective, and 2 from a comedic perspective.
This scene's like very James Gunn. This whole episode is just very, very, very James Gunn in terms of its humor. If it doesn't land for you, it just won't. Yeah, we do get a very brief glimpse of White Rabbit bouncing out of there. Pretty like not a very known DC character by any means, but hey, you know, very neat to just be like, James Gunn will throw one in there for you and be like, oh, there's White Rabbit, and she's gone. Will we see her again? Probably never again. It's fine. The humor in there, I'm still not sold on Sean Gunn being Maxwell Lord. I know there's a little bit like the humor there where it is very like Gunn, and it works for this show. And I do think they as in like Gunn and all the writers for any movie coming up will do a good job on making characters fit the stories they're in. So how they're acting in Peacemaker is going to be a little different than how we've seen them act in Superman, right? And same thing with Guy Gardner. how we see him act in Superman and in Peacemaker, and later on in Green Lantern or Lantern Corps. We're going to see him act a little differently in each, but just like slightly. So I am curious with the Maxwell Lord of it all, because I think he's going to be like one of the pivotal characters as well going on like throughout this whole DCU saga. He kind of has to be, since he's like the creator, the founder, the funder of the Justice Gang. But yeah, humor's solid. It's funny. It also a little depressing because you start to like feel for Chris here. You start to feel for Peacemaker as he's just like, I just want to do some good. And it feels a little Deadpool in that way. If that scene reminded me just like of a more Gunn version of Deadpool meeting Happy. And he's like, I want to do this. And they're just like not buying it at all. But with a little extra meanness with the mics being on. And Guy Gardner is the one who's intentionally screwed everything up, which is just very Guy Gardner.
There have been some fun, now that the first episode is out, some fun spoilery quotes that from interviews that have started coming out. And James Gunn said on, I think this was actually just on Threads, he mentioned that his version of Maxwell Lord is not the more recent one we have seen in oh wow, there you go, right, perfect timing as AF talking about it in the YouTube chat. Gunn posted on Threads earlier when somebody asked if he's going to be if Maxwell Lord is going to be a villain in the DCU, and he said that his Maxwell Lord is not going to be like the recently retconned muscular evildoer. He is going to be more like the original, who is a multi-layered character who is morally gray. So his Max was inspired by the original version. And then the other thing that recently came out, Sean Gunn was talking about in a interview with our friend Brandon Davis. He said that part of these, like this Maxwell Lord, like talking with the mic on to Peacemaker type of thing, like when he's talking with the Justice Gang, apparently I think I mentioned the camel toe thing 30 times. Apparently that was improv. So shout out to Sean Gunn for getting some of his improv in there. Rachel, what did you think of getting the Justice Gang back together? What did you think of the comedy? I personally love anytime I get some of TV's Nathan Fillion, and I'll take as much Isabella Merced as I can get.
Oh yeah, no, it's setting up such a great dynamic. I absolutely adored them in Superman. I'm excited to see what they're going to bring, especially to Peacemaker. And it's nice that we kind of get to see like this other side of Chris who wants to do some good and see how it's met with the people that he thinks, oh yeah, like these are the people that are doing good. They should be good people. And you find out, no, it's very much don't meet your heroes. And no, the humor is James Gunn's humor is just genuinely one of my favorite things about him. Like the way that he can just insert like the smallest little like quip or just something, and like like anytime he works with the people, they just, I don't know, he just works so well directing them. And I know that there's a lot of good comedic timing in anything that has to do it, but like I think I just like it fits so well in with the universe that we already know. It's kind of just like a seamless transition. You're like, yeah, okay, this is what we have, and we're still going to continue on with this.
I like it, and I thought that scene was quite funny, and it's relatable, because what do you do when you bomb a job interview? It goes poorly. You're embarrassed. You feel like shit. Like, what do you do in that scenario? You have a massive orgy at your house. It's the only solution. You get bombed and you invite dozens of fully naked people to get it on in your house. Damon, which one is more? And I love it, because in these situations you blush, you get all pink, you get a little uncomfortable. Which one made you either was more ridiculous, more wild, made you more uncomfortable, made you more turned on? I don't know, Damon. Herogasm or Peacemaker season 2 episode 1?
The Herogasm wishes this was this. This is like the Herogasm we were promised. Neither of them, I will say, go to the level of like the comics Herogasm, which just gets into the realm of Game of Thrones level crazy, but like tenfold. So neither of them get to that. But yeah, man, I'll say this. I've seen a lot of people online being like, that was unnecessary. And I'm like, for this character, it is, because that's what this character is. He's a mess. He does things like this. Like, do people think it may have gone on a little long? Maybe. I don't care. I think it's funny. This is what the Herogasm we were promised and never got. So there you go, people. Enjoy it.
My ADHD couldn't handle it. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know where to look. I was like, I was just
where to look.
It's like, oh no.
Yeah, it was distracting. Rachel, Herogasm or Peacemaker season 2, episode 1? What takes the cake?
Oh, Peacemaker for sure. Yeah, like, listen, like Damon said, Herogasm wishes. I read that. I was like, this is going to be absolutely batshit insane. It was not as good as that. So no, this was very. I don't know. It was much better. It wasn't like crazy for crazy's sake. Like, yeah, obviously there's an orgy happening. There's some, body parts swinging about, and it's distracting. But it's like it's not gratuitous. Like, yes, it maybe did go on a little long, but also get over it. Like, just don't watch it. But my first thought when this happened, I was like, oh no, he's having his Jesse Pinkman moment when Jesse just invites all of the random homeless people and strangers over to his house when he's like going through it. I was like, oh well, here we are. We've hit that moment, and now hopefully we can only go up from here. But who knows?
Poor Vigilante later in the episode, he's like, why wouldn't you invite me, man? Like, this is like, I just want to hang out with you, and you're inviting all these other friends over to hang out, and without me. Like, just ignores the context of the situation. He just wants to hang out with his friend, and sadly, much like Vigilante and Peacemaker, everybody's kind of starting this season pretty close to rock bottom. They just saved the whole freaking world with Project Butterfly, and nobody can care. Nobody cares. Peacemaker can't get into the Justice Gang. Vigilante is waiting some tables. Adebayo is poorly trying to start up a new company. She's no longer with her partner. Harcourt is beating the shit out of people, getting the shit beat out of her, and can't get a job because she's a misogynist. Damon, everybody is. I kind of feel like if I save the world, I want like a nice cushy desk job where I get a lot of money after.
Yeah, well, when Amanda Waller, even though all her secrets or whatever got revealed, she's still behind the scenes making sure that your life is miserable, and Amanda Waller gets what she wants, no matter what. So don't screw over Amanda Waller, guys. That's your lesson.
Rachel, what do you think of the storytelling idea to kind of start all of these characters right at the bottom, fresh off of, when we kind of felt like we should have been seeing them at the top?
I loved it. I was like, this is incredibly realistic. So, you get so many times when people upend, these government secrets, corporations, whatever, it seems like everything's going to be okay, but it's not going to be. Like, they're bigger than you, they're stronger than you. It doesn't matter what you expose. There's still going to be people that are going to push you down. So it's nice to see, oh yeah, like you said, they should have a cushy desk job after they literally saved the world. But that doesn't matter in this world, especially. Like, they are getting punished for doing what they did, for exposing secrets, all of that. So I think it's a really fresh take on it and a really good storytelling, because literally you can only go up from here. So there's like no way I'm sure there'll be some fluctuating, plateauing, but like they're down at their very, very bottom. Like, they are at their worst right now. Like, I truly can't see it getting any worse. Hopefully it doesn't, but it's a good starting point to kind of build from there. And especially for exploring characters.
Yeah, and to go off of what TJ said earlier, where like the season seems like it's going to be more of a character study. That's the way to do it. If you want to do a character study, you have to deconstruct the character. You have to put them at their lowest point, and that's exactly what we've done here. No matter what these group of individuals have done before, saving the world from a alien butterfly mass takeover. It doesn't matter. You have to put them back to their lowest point, back rock bottom, and see what they're made of after it. So I am fascinated to see, I mean, as we go forward this episode, we'll get more into it, but like where we end off.
Damon, are you trying to suggest that when we reach our lowest point, we are open to the greatest change?
It's a great quote, isn't it?
Avatar Aang as at the end of Legend of Korra season 1. You know I always got to get my Avatar references into each episode, no matter what we're talking about. But I lost my train of thought because I went into Avatar mode. Damon, we just restarted last night. It was Ava's birthday yesterday, and
we're like, how many times?
And I go, all right, what should we throw on? How do you want to end your birthday? And she plops on episode 1, The Boy in the Iceberg, Avatar: The Last Airbender. And so yeah, we're back on it. So I need someone to help me back get on my train. What was I even talking about?
We just finished DC Herogasm. Yeah, we just finished DC Herogasm, and Chris opened the door.
I appreciate that. Like, going back to what Rachel was saying, I also think this is almost, symbolic of, yeah, you just saved the world. Yeah, you were the best show in the old DCU. Who gives a damn? This is the new one. We're starting from scratch. And it kind of felt like it was a, somebody who just peaked in high school and they ended their high school career with a championship. And they just won the championship in their sports, and everybody loved them and they were at the top of their game. And now high school is done. Your championship means jack shit. What's next? And that's kind of the vibe that I got here with this team, which fits in well with Harcourt's toxic masculinity. But the one character I hadn't mentioned yet was Steve Agee's John Economos. And that's because he is surveilling Peacemaker's house. He's watching this orgy happen. As everybody's getting down, he's just sitting there with a bag of chips, watching his screen, hopefully keeping his hands above the table where we can see him. And he's just watching this shit happen. And why is he doing this? Because Rick Flagg Sr., who we were introduced to in Creature Commandos with his glossy, shiny, silver fox hair that is gone because Frank Grillo was filming Tulsa King and he couldn't color his hair. And so now we're saying, hey, look, Frank Grillo needed some Just for Men. And doing some Just for Men in there, got some hair color because he got a new job at Argus and he wanted to look good. He didn't want to look old. We know this is a dude who is not good at, putting the mission first and and thinking with his brain, in his head, his top head instead of his bottom one. He's not good at that, so he wants to look good for the people around the office. So let's get rid of that gray hair. And this man, of course, is still pissed at Peacemaker. Why? Because he finds out when he becomes the new head of Argus that Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad killed his son, Rick Flagg Jr., played by Joel Kinnaman. He's got a sweet little photo of him beside his desk. This is a fun plot because I think we were kind of waiting for this to happen as soon as Rick Flagg Sr. was announced. Is the first thought is, oh, this guy is not going to like Peacemaker very much, Rachel. I don't really like Frank Grillo as a guy, but let's talk about the performance specifically. What did you think about Rick Flagg Sr.'s introduction as kind of like the not full on, not villain, but antagonist of this season?
Oh yeah. Literally, like, you put Frank Grillo in any kind of role like this, I'm gonna love him. I'm with you on there. He is great when you put him in these roles. I'm excited to see what he's going to do and what he'll bring because he is a very interesting character and his performance is great. So I think it's a nice little tease, a nice little intro to him in that first episode to see where we're gonna go.
Damon, what do you think about Rick Flagg Sr. as kind of like the main antagonist of this season?
I'm I'm very curious to see how Waller plays out in all this too. We know she had a role in Creature Commandos. He kind of like reports to her in a way. So how her little looming fingers above him kind of puppeteer him. But what I did enjoy is we do have a little bit of connecting tissue, just to go forward with it, because they are surveilling his house, because they are seeing the same signals, the same pattern that what we saw in Superman when we had the interdimensional rift. It's also coming from his house. So that's like their excuse into being like, this is why we're searching him. This is why we're surveilling him, because we're getting pings from his house. And eventually you do get another ping. But that it goes into one of my second things about this new DCU, which I find like interesting. I don't want to say bizarre, but it's interesting. Obviously, that we're starting with 2 out of 3 projects being very TVMA. And then the second part is a lot of people are kind of quote unquote tired of multiverse stuff. And we're kind of leaning a little heavy into it already. So I think that is an interesting decision. It is very DC. DC started multiverse. That's been their thing. Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3, Earth whatever. That is a DC thing. They did it first. So it's not unsurprising, but just in the general landscape of how people are perceiving comic book stuff, superhero stuff, and then we dive into it, it's like, and another multiverse story. It's like, okay.
Agreed. That part did, like, I mean, we saw it from the trailers. We knew it was going to go that route, but it does bring up an interesting point of like, as everybody's like, okay, Marvel, people said they were sick of Marvel doing the multiverse before Marvel actually did the multiverse, and now they've barely done the multiverse and until their big kind of conclusion to it here. And it is a little surprising that DC is starting off that way. Even just going back to Superman with their pocket dimensions and things like that, kind of opening the door for that route. But I mean, I don't care, so I'm not going to complain about it. I mean, I get as weird and multiversy as you want, and I don't, it doesn't bother me. So I personally have no problem with that part. But it is. I thought it was a little interesting that we got a off-camera storyline a little bit about what's going on between Harcourt and Chris. With, you know, they had a little thing. They had a little thing on a boat party, and it meant seemingly a lot more to one of them than the other one of them. Rachel, what do you think about this relationship storyline we're getting in season 2 here, where Chris wants Harcourt and she is not in any type of space to be in a relationship, and now all of a sudden he has the, well, I guess, hold on, let me not get ahead of myself. We'll get into the multiversal aspect. Let's just start with the main universe. What do you think about, you know, these two getting together off screen and it now opening the pathway for us to have this drama at the beginning of season 2?
Yeah, honestly, it makes sense. You know, you kind of, when you're close quarters, close friends like that, I feel like, yeah, it's going to kind of be inevitable. I don't know how I feel about it just yet, because I'm always, the whole like, we had a one-time thing and now I'm like infatuated with you thing is like very common, and it's not my favorite. So it really depends. There's gonna be a lot of like weight on the storytelling of this. Like, can they make me care about them as a couple? Because I never would have imagined. I didn't really think about that first season. I was like, no, like this is not something that I really want. I think Chris has his own issues that he needs to work through, and I don't think neither of them really need to be in a relationship right now. And so I will trust the process, is how I feel about it right now. We shall see how things play out.
Damon, what do you think?
No, I totally agree with that. I think that aspect of them was probably like the least interesting thing of the first season between the two, because they're both very complex characters in terms of their past and how they go through. We joke about Harcourt's like toxic masculinity and all that stuff, but that is something that is a part of her, whether you call it that or not, that she has to deal with and go through itself. So I kind of hope this season kind of like, as much as they brought that up and that may be the catalyst to bring the two together, I hope they dig deeper than just, and in the end they love each other, yay, and like it's like, oh, okay.
It does kind of level up the temptation when you open this door to a multiversal portal. Damon, you talked about the pings that are getting sent back to Argus, and he finds a door. We knew this place existed, right? We knew he had some gear in there. We knew it existed, but it's the first time we see this door on the other side of it. And once he goes through this door to the other universe, it's heavily implied that him and Harcourt are on again, off again together. She's a lot more fond of him in this universe. And who is it implied by, Damon? His freaking brother, who is alive. So here is our Peacemaker sitting here at rock bottom. Everything is going terribly. And he pops into this other universe. We know it's different because instead of pour some sugar on me, we got pour some honey on me. Like all the bands have these different posters that are slightly altered in some way. His brother is alive. The girl he likes, she likes him back. It's very, it's his problems, while as crazy as they are, when you go to surface level, also feels high school of like, oh, I kissed the girl at this party and I really like her and I think she likes me back, and oh, now she doesn't want to talk to me. What's going on? It does feel like his while they're obviously incredibly more difficult because, it's multiversal stuff, it's world-ending apocalyptic stuff. It kind of seems like the stuff that bothers him the most is the high school drama-y kind of stuff. And he goes into this world and Harcourt likes him back and his brother is alive. His dad is less of a dick. Damon, this alternate reality is looking like a pretty
sweet place,
vacation spot.
It's a pretty sweet place. It's his dream reality in a way, where his brother's still alive. His dad, the three of them, him, his dad, and his brother, are like a little superhero team saving the day. They're beloved by the people around him, and seemingly the girl that he is has feelings for also has feelings for him back. It's his dream world. What can possibly go wrong? Well, that this is a classic grass is greener on the other side type of scenario. We'll see what the inner, deeper truths are to this universe, to this pocket dimension, to this parallel dimension, however we want to describe it. I think it's an interesting catalyst. Again, I already talked about the multiverse stuff. I'm beside it at this point. Whatever. Let's just go through with it. And I think it's interesting. To go off to the posters, I was fully expecting a parallel Crab Joys, like the Lobster Joys or something like that.
Not only is it a grass is greener universe for Peacemaker, but it's also a grass is greener universe for Roy from The Office, because that's Peacemaker's brother and he's a superhero and alive in this universe.
I recognize his face.
What did you think of the new universe and the diving straight into the multiversal storytelling?
Yeah, I'm on the fence about the multiverse too. It's kind of it's done. It's there. I'm like it's part of the storyline, whatever. I think as long as they don't hinge on it or make it too much of a thing, it'll be good, because I have no issues with having them. I think multiverses are cool. I think having pocket dimensions and parallel dimensions are interesting. And I do like that this is the one that we see from Peacemaker. It really shows you who he is deep down, what he it's essentially if you had a wish that could be behind this door, what would it be? That would be what it would be. And so it's he gets to walk into this universe and be a part of this universe that he wants so badly, but he's never been able to have. So obviously, there's going to be some issues with that, but it's a very interesting peek into who he is underneath everything, I think.
Very, very well said. I want to dive into, before we dive into Easter eggs, I didn't have this in the rundown, but I just kind of want to talk about these standout performances in this episode, because I think Jennifer Holland specifically did such a great job as Emilia Harcourt. both emotionally and physically. Like, she looks like a warrior. She's jacked. She fights so incredibly well. She just looks really cool, and her performance is really, really good. And then like Peacemaker is the show that really opened up to me that like, oh, John Cena can be more than a jester. He actually can deliver really strong acting performances. Okay, John, I'm here for it. Let's see it. And so I want to shout out him as well, because those two, to me, really carried this first episode with their performances. Rachel, was there, if you want to pile on that, feel free to, or are there any other performances that stood out to you?
Honestly, they are the best performances, like, and even the physicality of the fights with Harcourt, I was like, this is some insanely well done choreography. First off, I was like, sometimes they can look a little clunky, especially when you incorporate the little twists and the flips and stuff, but I was like, this looks legitimately like realistic, like this is what I would expect. And then I have been saying for so long that John Cena is one of our best wrestlers turned actors, and he's really started to prove it even with just this first episode. Like, I know he's had other projects where he's been fantastic in them and shown that he has range, but this episode is really, I'm like, a lot hinged on his emotions and how he carried it and how he performed it, and he knocked it out of the park. He was fantastic. I'm really excited to see like what he's going to bring to this character this season.
Damon, how about you? Any standout performances? And then feel free to get excited about the one Easter egg that I know you and I jumped out of our seats for a little bit.
Oh yeah. Just to go back on like the physicality of it, that was like an action sequence with Harcourt that told story behind every punch. You know, you get to see the hurt that she has, the mental space that she's in, and that's when like an action sequence also tells a story. It's not just action for action's sake. Like, she goes into that bar looking for a fight. Like, she needs to do something, and she needs to also just like take a punch too. Like, she feels like she deserves that. So that's where
I just finished Fight Club last night, so it is funny after watching Brad Pitt go, here's your homework. Pick a fight and lose, because it literally just looks like Emilia Harcourt's part of Fight Club.
Yeah.
Can't talk about it.
Can't talk about it. Yeah, let me just get into it. Woo, Bludhaven. We did it. We're getting there. We got a shout. Bludhaven. We're putting a little emphasis on the umlaut and the ooh in Bludhaven, which I'm fine with. I say Bludhaven. I say Bludhaven, whenever you want. We got a little bit of shout out for those who don't know. Bludhaven, the home city, the home protecting area of my favorite, TJ's favorite, everyone's favorite, Dick Grayson, Nightwing. Godspeed to you, James Gunn, casting that man. Godspeed. You're gonna have to make him up. There's no human on earth that will live up to everyone's expectations for who Dick Grayson is.
For those who aren't like familiar with Dick Grayson outside of just Little Boy Wonder Robin, that he is essentially, in terms of a personality wise, who you're looking to cast, it's somebody very similar to like a
Superman
meets Spider-Man.
Yeah, Superman with some quips. Yeah, he's got like some quips. But what I love about that character, and what you love about that character, is that he is everything. He is the product of both Clark and Bruce. He is like essentially the child of both of them. He has like the wits of Bruce. He has the ground levelness of Bruce, but he has the heart of Clark. So it's not just like, I know everyone's like, you're gonna have to find like the most a beautiful human on earth to be able to play him. Yeah, you know, he's also a good looking guy, but like personality and acting wise, that's more important to me as a fan of that character. Is like, you need to find someone who has that heart.
You need to find 18-year-old Dylan O'Brien.
However old.
You got to go back in time in the multiverse and
it's multiverse.
Out of the Maze Runner and plop him right there in the DCU.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yeah, Godspeed.
Yeah, I can't. I love the Bludhaven reference. That was so excited to get just like the little bit of Nightwing teasery, especially because we know it. Like James Gunn had said, Batman Brave and the Bold. It's going to be telling the story of Bruce and Damian Wayne's Robin.
Mhm.
So we know at this point, especially with the reports that a Teen Titans script is being written and, maybe now paused so that Wonder Woman can be written, but eventually being written, he should be Nightwing already at this point. This is no longer a Robin. He's going to be Nightwing in this universe. So a very exciting tease. The next one is hilarious because they didn't do it just once. They did it twice. And James Gunn is not hiding his dislike for Jared Leto, the former Joker of the DCEU, with just constantly giving jabs to Leto's band 30 Seconds to Mars, which is especially fun for people like the three of us, because I know we all grew up at a certain point probably listening to, singing along with "Come Take Me Down."
They have one good song. Okay, they have one good song.
Oh, I'll fight you on this one. I was the biggest 30 Seconds to Mars fan for ages, forever. Their first album, second,
And then
third.
you probably got a DM from Jared Leto that was really inappropriate as soon as you were 16 or something like that. And
I wasn't cool enough back then.
so disappointing when you're like,
Mark safe.
Yeah, when you grow up with something and then you realize like, oh, they suck. They're gross. Damn. And so it is nice getting the 30 Seconds to Mars jokes. Those were pretty funny.
I was dying. I was cackling every single time. Like, I've had to make my peace with 30 Seconds to Mars and Jared Leto sucking. Like, it was devastating. It was so devastating to me. But I'm here now, and I will take any jabs because he deserves it. He fully deserves every single jab that he got in this episode and then some. And I want it to happen more. Please let it just be a reoccurring joke in next season.
I was honestly waiting. I was waiting for Dylan Sprouse to show up, just go back to like that original tweet from way back when, just to like have one last like look out a window, be like, "Are you guys also dissing 30 Seconds to Mars?"
For those who don't know the internet lore, who aren't as chronically as online as we are, Dylan Sprouse, was it Cole or Dylan? Dylan Sprouse had a tweet years ago, and it was like, hey Jared Leto, now that you've slid into the DMs of every 18 to 23-year-old model in the New York area, blah blah blah, and James Gunn responds to it and goes, "Oh, he's waiting till they're 18 now."
Oh, I forgot he responded to it.
And with all of the various predatory allegations that have been sent Jared Leto's way, and the stories of how horrific he was to Margot Robbie on the Suicide Squad set, it's fun to see him get these jabs going his way, because people always talk about, oh, cancel culture is terrible. Guess what? There isn't cancel culture, because this dude is still getting leading roles in big budget movies every other year. But alas, were there any other Easter eggs that either?
Yeah, they mentioned Arkham, they mentioned Belle Reve. They
Arkham,
said that like people have been escaping. So I'm like, all right, cool. We essentially in one sentence just set up that like Lex is gonna get out of there at some point soon. Cool.
It's happening.
But yeah, we already set up his escape. People getting out. Classic.
People are going, oh man.
I think that'll do it for this episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. I guess one other person that we should bring up that I forgot to mention is Sasha Bordeaux, who is working with Rick Flag Sr. This is a character straight from DC Comics. She's a cyborg woman, and she typically has been most associated with Batman, and not necessarily a villain, not necessarily an antagonist. I believe she is more, I haven't read anything, Damon, with her in it. If you have, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But if I'm not mistaken, she's typically more often associated on the side of good than on bad, which I guess what Argus is thinking they are on the side of good.
TJ, if I had a nickel for every cyber tech woman who's kind of a good guy in comics working with the bad guy in the DCU, so far I'd have 2 nickels.
Which isn't a lot,
Do
but
we
it's
have
strange that it's happened twice.
Did we get any of that in Creature Commandos? Are we 3 for 3? Or is it just the engineer and
Just so far, it's just the engineer, because I wouldn't call the bride a cybernetic woman.
True.
But we can make it one. Why not?
Speaking of the bride, just watched some in my Watchin. I didn't spend enough time, but I did a back-to-back Kill Bill, volume 1 and 2, and I did really enjoy that experience doing those back-to-back. But I think it is time for us to get out of here. It's Saturday. We got things to do, people to see, places to go. I have none of those things to do, but nonetheless, we've been here for an hour, so it's time to skedaddle. Before we get out of here, Rachel, where can the people find your wonderful writing, and where can they find you on socials?
Oof, yeah, you can find me mostly. I'm at that hashtag show nowadays, doing some interviews, writing some reviews. I'm also doing some interviews for Mama's Geeky. Shout out Tessa, great woman, love her to death. And then Tech Advisor, you'll see some of my bylines on there. But you can find me on Instagram at Just a Waste of Death, and Twitter, Tempest Teacup. I don't use it very often, but you can find me there. I'll post links to some writing sometimes and some other things that I'm doing.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It is always a blast to have you on, and I miss you, so I'm excited to chat again soon, because I can't go to New York Comic Con this year, so we're not going to get to hang out. Hopefully next year.
I had so much fun last year too.
We had so much fun last year, and this year, like, the guest list is so good. The guest list is so good this year. And there's an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reunion panel this year, and I'm not going to be there.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
And they're definitely going to do the Supergirl panel there too. Like, 100% they're going to be doing that. So it's I'd rather not talk about it. It makes me sad.
No,
me too.
I'm
sorry.
Me too. Damon, I don't think you care if the people find you anywhere on socials, but what's coming next week for the Comic Corner?
Not unless I'm gonna say, not unless if you're really interested in me just posting a new clip from the MyChem shows over the last 2 weeks every day.
As I am.
Yeah, like naturally. Adding to that algorithm. Coming up on the Comic Corner, we have Absolute Wonder Woman next week. The return of Jeff the Land Shark, everyone's favorite little guy. He is chasing a little evil version of himself throughout the Marvel Universe. His next pit stop is meeting up with Wolverine and Psylocke. Get this, TJ, the series is ending with Jeff meeting up with Scarlet Witch and Magic. That book was written for me.
Yeah, no kidding. That is it Kelly Thompson writing it?
Yes.
Yeah, she knows her audience. She knows her audience pretty well. Thank you so much, everyone who tuned in. Make sure you follow us on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. We got some great live tweets coming this weekend from Fan Expo Canada. Shout out to Aisha and Sydney, who are there doing some stuff for us right now. Follow us on socials and wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe here on YouTube. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell. We will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. On behalf of myself, Damon, and Rachel, we will see you next time. Peace.